Today we're going to go over solving quadratics by using the quadratic formula. Now in order to start this problem, we need to make sure that we have all of the terms on the same side of the equation. So if you notice here, we have terms on both the left and the right side of the equation. So we're going to go ahead and subtract 2x from both sides so that our quadratic is all on the same side and it equals 0. Once all the terms are on the same side, we can establish what our a, b, and c values needed for the formula, and those are going to be the coefficients to our variables. So our a value will be equal to 7, our b value is equal to -2, and our c value will be equal to -21. Now that we've established what our a, b, and c values are, we can go ahead and plug those values into the quadratic formula. So we have x equals -2 for my b value, plus or minus the square root of -2 squared minus 4 times 7 times -21, and this is all divided by 2 times 7. So if you look at what I have written here and look at the quadratic formula, all I did was replace the letters with the corresponding values. So now we're just going to take our time and slowly solve this. So we have x equals, we have a -2, which will make a +2, plus or minus the square root. -2 squared is going to give us a +4. And then we need to multiply all of this. So we have -4 times 7, which will give us -28, times the -21 will give us a +588. So just be really careful whenever you're dealing with multiplying negatives. Divided by 2 times 7 is going to give us 14. So now we can add what's inside of the square root. So we have x equals 2 plus or minus the square root of 592, and this is all divided by 14 still. So if we take a look at the square root of 592, it's not a perfect square, so we can't actually square root it as is. But we can simplify that. So off to the side, we'll go ahead and write the square root of 592. And we need to find two numbers that go into 592, and one of them we need to be able to take the square root of. And we actually want to find the largest perfect square that goes into 592. And in this case, it is actually 16. So 16 times 37. So what we're doing is we're taking the square root of 592 and we're breaking it up into two square roots that multiply back into 592. This way, we can actually start simplifying our radical. So the square root of 16 is 4. We can't take the square root of 37, and we can't break that up any further. So we'll have 4 square roots of 37. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take our simplified version and replace it with that square root of 592. So I will go ahead and rewrite what we have. So we have x equals 2 plus or minus 4 square roots of 37, since I'm replacing that, all divided by 14. So now we need to see if we can simplify our fraction any further. And we're mainly focusing on these three values, since we can't simplify that square root any further. So we want to look, is there a number that goes into 2, 4, and 14? And 2 goes into all of those numbers, so we can divide the three numbers by 2 to simplify that fraction. So we have x equals 2 divided by 2 is 1, plus or minus 4 divided by 2 is 2. We keep that square root of 37. It's all divided by 14 divided by 2 is 7. So our final answer is x equals 1 plus or minus 2 square roots of 37 all over 7. We can simplify this and break it up into the two separate answers with that plus and minus, but this will do fine as your final answer.